This is Sahara's journal entry for the day that she stole Luz's sticker. Where I live in the city. I wonder what it's like to live in the suburbs or the country. I imagine you live in a house. It's easier because you have a yard or a bike. And when your mom sends you on an errand, she doesn't stare out the window till you get back and you don't have to run. I wonder what it's like not to hear sirens and yelling, not to hear your neighbors. When Mr. Martinez, who lives below us, comes home from the factory in the middle of the night, he gives himself a welcome home party by putting on his Cuban music so loud his music's full of trumpets and drums and the word corazon, corazon all the time. His music shakes like a bad woman. His music is a bigger woman than his wife, who is a small bone, who I imagine is frowning in her house dress because he's sitting on the sofa drinking with his favorite woman. I think this as I watch the crystals on the old light fixture quiver from the throb of his corazon. His coming home really is something. It's something to me, too. It's someone's coming home. I listen for my mother in the other room. Is she sleeping or is she waiting too? Sometimes I go to her room, but she usually sends me back. She says her bed's too small. She says, put a pretty picture in your mind's eye and you'll fall asleep. You won't be scared. You don't need me. So I go back and I lie down and I listen to Mrs. Rosen. In the apartment above us, shuffle, shuffle, thump, shuffle, shuffle, thump, shuffle, shuffle, thump. The thump is her cane. I hear her move to the kitchen. The chair scrapes against the linoleum. What's she doing in the kitchen in the middle of the night? She's nice. She smiles at me on the street. She gave me a butterscotch candy out of her handbag with a little gold clasp. When she gave it to me, I looked at her hands, wrinkled with more lines than a road map, speckled with lakes of brown. What's it like to be old, I wonder, to have skin with lines for every mile you've walked, for every trip around the sun? When I watch TV, I never want to be old. They laugh at oldness on TV, but in the dark, I hold my hands up straight above me in the air like two stars, and I wish for lines to prove that I've been here. I wonder about Mrs. Rosen at the kitchen table, looking at the lines in her hands in the middle of the night. Who's she waiting for? I imagine if you live in the country, you can look out your window and see the Milky Way. Anytime I want, I can look out my window and see 1,000 other windows, half shaded by a blaring yellow, half shaded or blaring yellow awake. I don't play outside much. I can't swim on concrete. My ears can hardly make out the rattling of the cicadas, but Mrs. Rosen says, life is with people, so maybe I can get along without cicadas. I looked up and I saw Rachel leaning back on her pillow staring at me. Without blinking, she put out her hand to see what I wrote. I handed it to her. She read it, her mouth in a line, her eyes moving right, then left. She didn't smile, but when she looked up at me into my eyes, I knew she saw past the brick to what is sparkling and moving like Lake Michigan. Good things, exciting things.